So here's the garden. Lots of work to do. So I'm gonna get some fresh swamp runoff water here to start these seedlings. Alright. Got a nice harvest of nutrient-rich swamp water. And since that was a little bit icy first thing in the morning, I'm gonna set it up here to warm up in the sun while I get my dirt ready in my little pots. I think we're March 27th today. This is sort of my greenhouse area. I hardened up this corner box here to be a lot warmer. We'll take a look at some temperature data because of my changes. Just because the original had all these gaps that was letting cold air in, and so it would freeze in there overnight. Here we are inside. The main area is mostly storage. I need to clean that up. It's warmer now because it's midday, but out here it's 12 degrees, 42% relative humidity. But over here, I have sealed off a little area. It has a little roof for me to store awkward things like hoses. Let's take a look inside. Close that. So in here I've made a nice cedar ceiling. I've got this paneling that I'm not a huge fan of, but it was kicking around when we bought this place, so I'm using it for my windows. I've got some shelves. I wired some power out here with a ground fault interrupter that actually works. And the temperature in here is warmer. We've got about 21.5 degrees. A little drier too. That'll probably change once we get our little seedlings going. And all my tools and screws. Some more dirt. I've got one of these oil-filled heaters in here. I find them quite efficient. And I've got it set to only turn on when it gets below 15 degrees centigrade in here. So right now it's warmer than that. It's 18 degrees down here, so it's not even using any electricity. Anyway, yeah, it's like not huge, but I have these nice cedar shelves that I've built, and we're going to be using Island's Finest Professional Gardener Series starter mix. In the past I've used potting soil, but potting soil has thicker chunks in it, like little chunks of cedar or bark, wood chips, and I find that can inhibit the sprouting of your seeds that can get trapped under there. So this is more expensive, but it's greater as a starter mix because it's nice and fine. So we're going to be putting that into these pots, and then we're going to be planting some starts today. I've got some broccoli, some California Wonder peppers. We're going to do some cauliflower because cauliflower's like $10 a head in the grocery stores now. We're going to start some tomatoes. I have some cayenne pepper seeds that I salvaged. These are probably jalapeno peppers. We're going to start those. And maybe while you're watching this video, I've got thing 1 and thing 2. And we're going to grow our 4. So we'll put some dirt in all these pots. I've got a few methods I'm going to try. These, never really used those before, so we'll try those in 4 different pots. We'll do the classic, how I buy them from the nursery usually. They come in these and I've saved them, so I'm going to try my own starts now that I have my own little hothouse here. Here we are with my little pots in these trays that kind of, I don't know, I still use them. They used to be starter trays, but I like to put my pots in there. It keeps them together. And I've got them filled with this really fine seedling soil. It still has a couple of little pieces. I just toss those out along the surface anyway, so it doesn't block the germination of the seeds. So, and I brought this in here to warm up that spring/swamp water a little bit. So that's a good haul. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 6, I should know this. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we're going to do 28 starts of these things. We'll probably do 2 of thing 1 and 2 of thing 2, because I'm only growing 4 marijuana plants as per the law in Canada. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I usually spend about $60 to $100 on these kind of starts. It'll be fun to see if I can do them for myself. These are some peppers I grew last year, and they were really quite delicious. They really tiny seeds though. So I might do 4 per each of these big pots and see, you know, what the germination rate is. We'll put one there and put one there. Harvesting seeds from my own garden is sort of one of my own little pleasures. Oh, that looks like 2 got there. 1 there, and I can thin these if they grow to be too much. I'll put 1 in the middle too. And then I'm not going to put them in far, just a little bit. And we'll just like cover them gently. Not too tough. Make sure there's no big chunks in the way. There we go, there's 1. Now I got the rest to do. So these seeds are getting a bit old. I think I made these about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And we're just going to do 1 per pot, but you can kind of see I've got 1 right there already. And what I want to do with these is I want to pick the biggest, fattest seeds, because those are most often the female ones. The small ones that have trouble germinating typically end up being male. So I'm going to pick out the biggest, fattest ones and plant those this year. So here's a closer look. You can see some of those are kind of smaller with white. I do have a video about how I harvested these. You're welcome to take a look. I didn't know what would be most viable. It turns out they all are. But those little white ones, they're smaller. They end up being the male ones. And the darker, fatter ones, I find, not always, but often end up being the female ones. So we're nearly done our sowing. I'm just doing the broccolis, and I thought I would show you what I'm doing. So about 1/4 of an inch down. I'm doing 5 per one of these 2x2 trays. We'll see how many come up. I can thin them or separate them out. And then what I do is I just gently cover them. Taking out any of that kind of stuff. Gently cover those ones. Here's a twig I don't want in there. Very tiny seeds, but just cover them with a thin layer of soil, and then I just sort of tamp them down just a little bit, very gently. And this will do two things. This will kind of set the seeds so they don't migrate as soon as I water the first time, and also provide a little bit of a gap so that the water doesn't overflow. Both those situations where seeds become mobile, they can end up in the same corner of the pot and crowd each other out if you don't do this little firming up step. And also, if it overflows over the top when you water them the first few times, you can actually wash the seed right out of your little planting tray, which I just find not too firm, just very gentle. And of course, label them so that you know what you got. Okay, I'm going to water now. I'm going to try to be as gentle as possible. Try not to flood things out. And it's tricky, even with this fine waterer. It's tricky to film it at the same time. Don't waterlog them. Just a little spring shower to wake them up. This is part of the reason I like the trays on the bottom. This will be a little bit of that moisture retention. And I don't want to do it too much water because that'll make the seeds mobile, but I don't want them dry either, or they won't germinate. Something like that. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.